time to answer that dreaded question. How do you thread your loom? But the bigger question is, what size loom do you have? So I have two looms here that I'm going to show you. I have one larger one, which is kind of fun because you can change the position of it. You can have it kind of like down, or else you can raise it as well, and it's a little bit higher up. I like this way. It's better for recording. That one's just a fun loom. It's new to me. This is the one I've been using for a very long time. The link is in my bio. I've got it off Amazon. Having a couple of these around, depending on your projects, is good. That beeswax is the way to go. Definitely invest in beeswax. The link is in my bio as well on the Amazon link. So right here, I am waxing my thread. And the reason for waxing, I wasn't doing it initially. I found out through TikTok that you should be waxing your thread. And the reason why is it preserves your product to last longer, as well as it keeps the string from fraying, from what I found out. So I went ahead and I bought this beeswax, and so far so good. It comes like in a pouch. I think maybe about 6 of them come in a pack, so it's not too bad. Now it's about positioning, how you want your loom. I kind of keep it on my knee as I'm tying this very first thread. And once I tie that first thread, I can go ahead and zigzag it back and forth, just kind of twisting it around my screw. I did change it out. The middle ones are screws now, only because those silver ones that were originally there kept on popping out because I have a really heavy hand and I kind of pull and yank on things. So for me, it worked. You don't need to do that, but it's whatever works best for you. So right here, I am zigzagging back and forth. I'm not going to do as many strings back and forth like I normally do. I usually do maybe about 40 rows. I think if you're brand new, maybe doing something that's 10 rows to 20 rows is a perfect size for you. Right here, I'm just going to do about 6 of them, just to kind of give you an idea of how to thread something this size. This size is very generous. You can probably do about 80 rows up, and you can definitely do large rows across. I only made it till about maybe almost 50 rows on this loom until I got my brand new loom. So this one right here, I'm just kind of debating, do I want to take my string longer? I think I decided I did want to. I'm doing one more row, and then I'm going to cut the thread, and then I'm going to tie it. Let's see. So I'll put up the threads that I use, but when I'm laying it down and I'm just stringing it, I use a different thread. I use a thicker thread. The reason why is because I feel like it holds my product longer. Now right here, I'm going to do the number 4. And I know you can't see it because my hands are in the way, but I kind of just do a little 4, and then I flip that thread through the 4, or that 4 loopy thing, and then I kind of yank it. And that's how I tie my knots. I do it a couple times until I get it secured. Now, once you do that, you can go ahead and take each side and kind of tighten it. But you want to find out which side is tighter. So you want to make sure you tighten it secure on one side, kind of stretch it again, kind of tighten it up a little bit more. One more time, and then tighten it on the other side. And once you do that, you're going to be fully secured. Right there, I'm kind of like playing guitar with it, playing around just to kind of show you the density. Well, this loom right here is actually new to me, and I'm honestly still kind of learning how to loom or thread my loom. However, I'm going to show you a quick tip of what's worked for me. So right here, I'm measuring about 26 inches. Now, you can always go a little bit larger than 26 inches, but 26 inches seems to kind of be the right length for me to do a couple ties around it. After this video, I kind of noticed I might want to do a little bit bigger, maybe about 27 inches, but just start out with 26, see what you think, and maybe it's just my clumsy hands. So once I kind of count out my string, and I count it out by 10, I try to section it by 10. It's easier for me to figure out my projects that way. So I know if it's like 30 rows, I just need three, bundles of those by 10. This project I'm going to be working on is about 81 strings. So right here, I need to put together at least 10 of these. I'm sorry, 8 of these. And once I go ahead and I get my 8th one, then I'm going to add on that additional string. And I think you'll see it in here. So as I'm kind of laying them out and kind of sizing up my string, I wanted to show you how I kind of count it out. I kind of keep it like a little fountain or sparkler, and I kind of just take my threads, put it to the side until I figure out how many I want. But I take that very last thread before I move to the next one, and I kind of pull it out like if I did 11 of them, and I keep my 10 and I put away my 11th. That way I can start my next count of 10. That way I don't have to keep on measuring out 26. I already did it for my first one. Now I'm going to keep that exact additional one to kind of measure out the additional string. So here again, I'm just kind of tying it up. Now, once I kind of gathered my string, I'm going to go ahead and lay it out just to make sure I have my right count. So right here, I have probably 30 strings, 40 strings, 50 strings, 60 strings, 70 strings. Now I'm holding the 10 I have, and I notice that I need to put one more string on, just recounting just in case. And once I get that additional string, I'm going to tie that in with the rest of my threads. So now I know I have exactly 81 threads for my current project. Now I'm going to start to grab my wax. I'm going to wax these. I probably should have did the wax differently. This technique was okay. I did front and back. It took off more wax than I anticipated, but I probably wouldn't do it this way. I would probably wait till I have it secured, like all of them tied up on my loom, and then rub the wax on the very top, front and back. This is okay. It's just I feel like it could have been different. It probably could have caught more strings if I would have did it the other way versus this way. I still think I coated them very well. The big part would be my next string that I'm going to weave in and out of it. I'm going to coat that one perfectly. But this, gets more or less the job done. At this point, I finished waxing all my strings, so now I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these off, and I'm going to start to securely tie it on to my loom. So what I do right here is I'm just trying to measure out. I want to make sure I do my 80 rows more in the center of my loom. So I'm trying to see like what's the best angle or what's the best positioning starting point that I'm going to go ahead and start my loom. So once I decide which one, then I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and I'm going to tie this twice securely so that way it's kind of embedded in that little, I think it's called like a divot in that area. Now this part right here, you'll see I struggled. It's usually when you start the loom. I think if I were to do it differently, I would have done it right. What you'll see in the second row. But what I'm doing is I'm laying all of the strings in between the little grooves. There is no like hook. It's just little grooves that I'm trying to make sure my strings are in. But what I'm saying I wish I would have did differently is when you're stringing it through the top, you should probably made sure that it's the same at the bottom. It took me a little while because I started with the top, then I had to redo it all over again for the bottom, which is a little bit annoying. It is tedious, but it's definitely worth it once you kind of get the hang of it. So here I am still trying to get it there, and then you'll see when I start to work on the bottom what I mean. Now here I go. So now I'm trying to figure out which, to make it straight, you definitely want to make sure that it's not at an angle. You have it straight up and down. And now I'm kind of putting my thread, one by one in between those ones. Now that I've finished putting it in between each of those little divots, I go ahead and now I securely tie it around here. Now, depending on how long your string is, you should be able to wrap it twice. Sometimes you only wrap it one time. Again, I kind of use that number four symbol, loop it through that fourth one. I want to make sure that I pull it through just right, and then you just kind of pull it down and boom, it's tight. So that definitely you want to tie it twice. And here I am, I'm going to go ahead and start the additional rows. Now, as you watch me do these rows, the second time seems to be a lot easier and a little bit more faster, only because I already have my first set of rows laid out for me. So now it should be a little bit easier for me to go ahead and grab my string and put it right next to that one and bring it all the way down. This time I did what I wish I would have done with the first set, but I didn't. Now, even though it still looks loose, at least it's still in the middle of that crevices. So as I'm bringing them down, you'll kind of see that I at least have it laid out in between there. So when I'm all done, I should just be able to kind of pull the thread at the bottom and they're all together. See how I'm kind of using my other hand to kind of securely hold it down? That way, this is going to be a lot faster. It's not as challenging as the first set. So if you learned anything or the only takeaway from this video, maybe to do it right this time, the way that I'm showing this way versus what I was trying to do originally, where I was just doing the top, not the bottom. I'm doing these ones together. And that should securely bring it down. And then it should be an easier wrap too, once it's all completed. I'm trying to show this section slowly because I just want you to have a better understanding of how easy it is once you kind of get the hang of it, just to kind of grab the strings and put it right in the middle of each of those divots. Then you kind of twist your thread. I don't know why I didn't show that, but normally I kind of twist my thread just a little bit to make sure it's easy and it sticks in between that little divot. And then I do, make that 4 symbol and drag it through. Drag it through that little loop. It's taken a little bit, but that's what I do. And I kind of just push the strings through with my thumb and my finger. loom on my last set of strings. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tie this one off, um, just to kind of securely tie it so I can show you what we're going to end up doing next, and how we tighten a larger loom like this. Once it's kind of fully secured, you want to just kind of make sure that the end tabs, they're a little bit loose, so that way when you start to tighten it, you have something to pull on. And I kind of want to show you how it gets loose. So that's what it looks like loose. It's kind of all scary looking. But as you start to tighten it, do you see how it now turns into like a screen looking thing? And you kind of just want to fill it with your hand. Don't press too hard, but you want to press hard enough to make sure what areas in your string does it need to be more tighter on. Does it, you just want to kind of securely do it. Now, you don't want to make it too tight where obviously your strings are going to pop. I haven't had that issue, but you just want to be extra secure. I guess it doesn't happen. Now you want to go ahead and start tightening the sides. So right here, you're going to go ahead and tighten one and then make sure the other's tight, and you're just about done. So here I am just filling it one more time. I'm going to kind of pound it on each side just so you can see it's not so loose. And there you go.